well. So let's quickly go to the next question. Obviously, in response to the NINA's propositions and campaign, there are loud debates we hear all over Nigeria about what to do next, about the distressed constitution of Nigeria. You have touched some of them already, because we hear them talking about amendments to 1999 constitution. Some are saying, oh, writing a new constitution, let's just bring a new constitution, bring this one out and bring the other one. Many are shouting about the need for restructuring. Some are saying, oh, let's return to 1963 constitution. Others talk about adopting the reports of 2014 National Conference, the one we call CONFA. Young people are speaking loudly about revolution, while others are saying, let's take back our country. Just everything happening everywhere, everybody shouting one thing or the other. Can you please explain to us how NINA's constitutional reconfiguration proposition differ from these discordant tunes that we hear? Because the Nigerian public seems so confused about what is wrong about their country and what needs to be done. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very quickly, I will take them one after the other to tell you why NINA's...
Let's a few minutes, please.
Yes. To tell you why NINA's rejects all these things that have been listed here. Those with any process of changing what is happening to us that will go to the National Assembly for amendment of Constitution, it means you are then telling me that my sovereignty that was yanked off from me by that fraud of 1999 now belongs to the members of National Assembly. So it's no longer the Yoruba that will go to negotiate with the Jo or the Berom for how they do union. It will be politicians whom you elected to go to make law. Their mandate is limited to law making. Constitution making is the exclusive preserve of the people, the peoples of the territory, the owners of the sovereignty, the people that will become countries of their own if Nigeria was not occupying their space. They are the ones who own the exclusive right to determine whether they want to be in union with anybody, and if they say yes by referendum, on what terms. Therefore, they begin to document and codify those terms. That is what becomes a constitution. So if anybody is talking about changing what is happening to us, and he's still looking in the direction of National Assembly, such a person is ignorant and illiterate of what the issue is. So the ones that say, oh, restructuring, what is the meaning of restructuring? Restructuring simply, if you take a building, for instance, a 10-story building that is fractured from underneath, that will collapse by itself if you don't find a way to do something about it. You see that restructuring can mean, refurbishing it in some way or painting it in another way. It can also mean, it means it's a very woolly talk to have. But NINAS has put a specific meaning, and we adopted that meaning in the force majeure itself, because we addressed that communication to the president when he went to run his mouth, to the then president, Buhari, when he went to run his mouth in France, that the people talking about restructuring don't know what they are looking for, and therefore how to go about it to be done. And so in that meaning we put to it, we indicated that it's like it is pulling down the building that was there and constructing according to new architecture. What does that mean for the people lumped together here? The constitution that has grouped us into this unworkable arrangement, we say, can we put it aside, like South Africa put aside the apartheid constitution? Did they not have a parliament at the time? But it was beyond the remit, beyond the powers of parliament to begin to discuss sovereignty of the people that voted them to come and go and make law under constitution. And so it's not the talk of restructuring can only be according to what exactly you want to change and how you want to change it and the outcomes that could come from it. In the restructuring that NINAS put a meaning to, by the time it's finished, it's only a matter of degree of autonomy. It has a process for where you start. So you can put a date to when you have to start, how you can start it. It has outcomes that differ only in degree of autonomy. If most people want to remain in country because they have agreed to be, then it could be a federation. If most people say we want more autonomy than we used to have, it will be a confederation. If most people say on account of class or civilizations, we can't even be in union with people who are who owe it a duty of faith to kill us, the ones who adopted Sharia, that could also be an outcome in the process we have. So those three options are on the table: federation, confederation, or the emergence of independent units of successor states from the defunct Federation of Nigeria that died in 1966. And so that is where restructuring begin to make meaning to NINAS. Anybody that is talking about restructuring loosely, the type Rufai went to do in APC, the type Buhari said he would do, the type Tinubu and Co have been saying they are champions of, it's of no interest to us. Going back to 1963, the ones who say let's go back to 1963. 1963 Constitution left the minorities in the belly of the majority. The middle belt will be in the belly of the caliphate because it was one northern region. The Tiv, the Berom, all these people being slaughtered now will have to go back to Sokoto for how they move in any direction. J.S. Taka rejected it. The ones who are alive now will reject it even more. In the lower Niger territory, the eastern minorities, the Jaw, the Anang, the Efik, the Ogoni, wanted a region of their own in Willings Commission. They didn't give them. If you go back to 1963, they are back to Enugu. They won't accept that. They don't want that. There was something we described as incomplete colonization, incomplete decolonization. Incomplete decolonization. The British deliberately left the sovereignty of the minorities in the belly of the bigger ones. And so it was always going to be a problem that will enable them continue to milk Nigeria because everybody will be fighting everybody. Look at Niger Delta today. Look at the assets that belong to them. Look at what the rest of Nigeria is doing with it. If they were in charge of those assets, it won't be so, and they won't be so miserably poor or environment so terribly damaged. So that is what is wrong with going to 1963. The word of going to 2014 conference report. Jonathan convened that meeting for us to go to the foundation that was laid by the British in 1914, in 1960. The conferees, the delegates, decided that they will not go to the foundation. They formed this on the floor of that conference. They took that decision, and they formed their APC, blocking what Jonathan had mandated from happening, and chased Jonathan out, took power. We are not going to take the outcome from that conference that did not discuss the foundation or the basis of the union. NINAS will not touch one alphabet from it. Anybody who is telling you that that is an option, tell them that they do not know what they are saying. And so I think that's all about the options. The ones who are talking about a revolution to take back their country. Can't we define the revolution we're talking about? NINAS has been able to tell you what is wrong and what needs to change and how it can be changed and when it has to change. That 5-point proposition, go and look at it again. So you can see the details of how everything will have to be done. Who will do it, when it has to be done, and how it has to be done. If you don't have all of that and you are shouting revolution, you can be at this for another 50 years. There will be no progress made. But if you embrace the one we have now, in 3 months, we can be out of this mess forever. Thank you.